For me, the thing I am most geeky about in the whole world is Ghostbusters. It's been my favorite movie since I was 3 years old. And when Jason Reitman teased that there was going to be a new Ghostbusters movie that followed the chronology of those original two films, I was super excited. And nearly a year later, we have our official trailer, we have our official title unveiling, as well as our first glimpses into what this movie's going to be. So on this episode of Geek Dad Life, we're going to break down that trailer, try and find clues so that we can kind of theorize what's going to happen when this movie drops in June. Ghostbusters Afterlife, the trailer is here! Alright, so first up, the trailer kind of opens up on, this Oklahoma town. It definitely has this feeling of more of a Jason Reitman film, Juno. More of an indie kind of family movie. But then we first start getting our clues here with seeing the farmhouse. So I know I've seen this around on the internet, but definitely it'd be cool if, while it's definitely seeming like this is Egon's parenting lineage, maybe Egon and Janine's parenting lineage. It'd be cool if this was Ray's house that he had 3 mortgages on to kind of fund the original business in the first film. That would be a neat twist. And then I don't know how it came into Egon's possession, but I don't know. That'd be kind of neat.
Why'd you bring me up here?
Entertainment value.
So love that it kind of pivots here into something more spooky. And then we kind of have this blast of ectoplasmic energy coming out of this mine. And then we're kind of introduced here to Paul Rudd's character, who is a summer school teacher going by the name of Mr. Gruberson, which sounds fake. It definitely sounds like something Paul Rudd would kind of make up if he was like improvising a character. But Mr. Gruberson is his name as we know it right now. Carrie Coon's character, who I guess would be either married into Egon's parenting lineage, because we don't know where either Egon's son is. But she's named Callie, and then McKenna Grace's character, the young lady with the glasses, is named Phoebe, and then Finn Wolfhard, who we all know from Stranger Things, is Trevor, who, seems to be more of the gearhead, or is being labeled as the gearhead, which kind of makes him fit into that Ray mold, where Phoebe is definitely kind of filling into that Egon mold. And I'd be curious to see who's going to be like filling that Peter Venkman mold. But let's keep this maybe Paul Rudd fills in that side. But him seeming to be a fan of the Ghostbusters, that's also kind of Ray's the heart of the Ghostbusters. So maybe that's kind of role he's filling in. Okay, love this little call out here. Once see them going under the table, there's that quick glimpse of the books. So in the beginning of the first movie, Ray calls out the books that are stacked in the library, symmetrical book stacking, and we have that great Bill Murray quip.
You're right. No human being would stack books like this.
And we have really our only kind of big joke in the trailer.
In my living room.
Oh, killer replica.
A replica of what?
A ghost trap?
So now we kind of have that little piano bit from Elmer Bernstein's amazing score. And it's interesting that this trap was hidden under the floorboards. Like I find that a lot of this stuff is being hidden and tucked away interesting. I'll be curious to see how that plays out. This seems to be accounting for both movies, even though it seems very much tied to the first one. But we'll get into more of that later. But I wonder why they were hiding this trap. And even, with a little bit later, when we'll see the ghost maybe coming out of the trap, maybe that's why it was being hidden by Egon. But we'll probably have to wait and see how that one plays out. But I didn't notice it the first time, but here that little ghost kind of sitting at top of that tank or whatever it was.
Your dad never mentioned this to you?
It's just my mom.
it's just my mom. So that's definitely alluding to more of that story there. I'm thinking, the mom married into this family, especially because she doesn't have the dark hair like her two kids have, that we would assume is maybe coming from Egon's side of the family. And we're not even 100% sure it is Egon's side, but just they're kind of hitting us over the head that it would be Egon's lineage. And I think it's also a really neat way to kind of honor Harold Ramis, who's not going to be in the film because, he passed away a few years ago. Also, we have the PKE meter there. I love how there's a pole that she slides down, much like the firehouse. Again, that kind of seems something like Ray would do. I don't know if Egon would necessarily want to kind of evoke the firehouse, because Ray's the one that truly loved the firehouse. Egon hated the firehouse. He didn't want to buy it or rent it or whatever.
My grandfather died. My mom says
Spores, molds, and fungus. I mean, that's what Egon said he collected. So, again, hitting us over the head that the grandfather is Egon.
just here to pick through the rubble of his life.
We have a proton pack. And here's that little ghost. Some people are speculating, is that Slimer? I'm not 100% sold at Slimer because it's more of a blue kind of energy to it. So I'm going to hold judgment on that Slimer. It might be a different ghost.
Who are you?
And then we see all the suits there. The first one being Spangler. Are they all Spangler suits? Or is it each of our Ghostbusters? Okay, this was one of the biggest clues I think we had in the trailer, was the Shandor Mining Company, established in 1927. So Ivo Shandor is the person that, was that person very much interested in the occult, built Dana's apartment, which was this antenna that allowed the Sumerian god Gozer to kind of re-enter in what led to the Manhattan Cross Rip that culminated in the conclusion of the first Ghostbusters film. And I thought what was really neat about the Ghostbusters video game, which takes place, I think, in 1991, and kind of acted as the third movie, to the original two, is that it tied in Ghostbusters 2 and the River of Slime to Ivo Shandor as well. And he was kind of the main bad of the Ghostbusters video game. So, given that Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd made the story for the Ghostbusters video game, it'd be really neat if they do tap into that, because I thought it was a really cool digging in deeper into the mythology of Ghostbusters. So Shandor Mining, especially when Peter quipped that he doesn't have a degree in metallurgy or physics, and Egon talking about cores of pure selenium. Maybe these mines that Shandor had were having these special minerals or metals that somehow channels psychokinetic activity, and that's maybe why whatever's happening in Oklahoma is causing these ghosts to come back 30 years after the events in Manhattan of Ghostbusters 1 and 2. So Shandor Mining, this little moment, huge clue, I think, to what's going to be the driving force to this spectral happenings in Oklahoma. Love having the Peter Venkman quote here.
Call it karma. I believe that everything happens for a reason.
And a joke that was kind of, or a moment that was kind of funny in the original, has such epicness. Oh, the terror dog right there. We also had Phoebe, with whatever those flames were.
Come on, darling.
And we have the Ecto 1 plowing through the wheat field.
It has a gunner seat?
And the gunner seat, so something I think we might have seen in some of the production images from the set, but something we never saw in the original movies with Ecto 1. And then another interesting thing here is that this is the Ecto 1. In Ghostbusters 2, the Ecto 1 showed up in the beginning, and I think we always assumed that the Ecto 1 was then kind of up-modded to the Ecto 1A. It's very possible that, the Ecto 1A was a separate 1959 Miller Meteor hearse ambulance converted 59 Cadillac. Maybe that explains why it looks like the Ecto 1 and still has the Ecto 1 tags from the first movie. So there could possibly... The way I'm looking at it right now, it would seem that there's two different ectomobiles. And I also got to give a shout out to JP who kind of called back that in the original Kenner Ecto 1 toy, there's a gunner seat that sits on the top of the vehicle, not off the side. But still, I think that's kind of, if that is a call out, a feature from the original toy, I think that's a fun call out. As well as, the side kind of, popping out door. It also echoes the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles party wagon as well. But this is where the trailer kind of kicks into high gear for me and got me a little misty-eyed because it has me, like, really pumped. And everything about that I've seen in this movie or this trailer makes it seem like it's going to be a really fun movie with a lot of heart. And not only a lot of heart for these new characters, but a lot of reverence to the original, and having Jason Reitman do that, I think is a big part of why, it's very little what we've seen so far, but has been very cool so far. So let's keep this trailer going. And boom, we have, going down the streets in a small town, going after a ghost, which kind of evoked the feel of Slimer, even though it didn't quite look like Slimer, a bit more blue than the green, to my eyes anyway. But really cool scene with the kids, trying to bust the ghost, even though that gunner seat and having the nuclear accelerator on their back, on Phoebe's back, is not the safest thing, but still, just a really neat scene that closes out the trailer. I love it. Jason Reitman, I think, it has a passion and a love for it. It's one of his father's, biggest movies that he ever directed. I love it. I can't wait. I can't wait to see, what's going to happen. Even in the trailer, the music was evoking the Elmer Bernstein score. And I hope that, that's just good trailer music, but I hope that the film, whoever does the score to the film, also maybe evokes that sound a bit more. If there's only one thing I really kind of gripe about or would nitpick on Ghostbusters 2, or maybe there's more, but I actually really like Ghostbusters 2, but is the score just didn't have the same feel and that same eeriness while also being comedic that the first score had. So I really hope in this trailer it is evoking the score that was underlying Peter Venkman's Call It Fate, Call It Karma, Everything Happens for a Reason. I love how the trailer made it even more grandiose and very trailer-like, and I hope that whoever does the score for the movie evokes that same feel of Elmer Bernstein's original score. Alright, so that's it. There's our trailer. There's a bit of information out there. A lot of what I found out was in the Vanity Fair article that kind of dug in a little bit that dropped earlier in this weekend. But I'm excited. I'm really excited. I mean, I'm somebody that's easily pleased. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, you ruined my childhood. And I enjoyed the 2016 Ghostbusters Answer the Call, but this one definitely feels like it's done with love for the original films, and somebody that loves those original films, in terms of media, I don't think I love any other type of pop culture fandom more than Ghostbusters. It definitely felt true to that fandom, so I'm really excited to see how all of that plays out. Alright, that'll do it for this episode of Geek Dad Life. If you enjoyed this, hit like, hit subscribe, click on that bell icon to be notified when the latest episode of Geek Dad Life drops. Later this week, we are going to be digging into the potential and rumored merchandise and other promotions for the new Ghostbusters Afterlife film. I think there's been some rumors around Ecto Cooler coming back. Even before it was officially announced, this image of these different of the original Ecto Cooler flavor and some new ones with Ghostbusters Afterlife was the first time we kind of saw it in, it wasn't official, but like in any type of official looking capacity. So we'll be digging into those rumors, as well as looking at Hasbro's toy list for the action figures and different things that they are selling for the new film, Ghostbusters Afterlife. We don't have any images, but it's kind of the inventory list, and I think there's some interesting tidbits of information that we can glean from that inventory list. So we'll be digging into that on the next episode of Geek Dad Life that'll drop later this week. Alright, until next time, hasta luego, and goodbye.